everyone and welcome back. So my people, the leadership of Yoruba social cultural group Afenifere has demands for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, saying that there is no justification for his continued detention, and in the same vein, they appoint Dele Farotimi as secretary. But before we listen to the Secretary General of Afenifere to hear what he said concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu matter, let's see this breaking news. Nigeria police withdrew defamation suit against Dele Farotimi after Alpha Babilola's U-turn. So you guys know that Alpha Babilola withdrew the defamation suit against Dele Farotimi, and today Nigeria police followed suit. These people, they really understand what is coming to them, because Dele Farotimi has already said it that he's not going to apologize. He's going to prove whatever he wrote in that book is nothing but the truth. So these people, they are kind of afraid right now, using some people, saying that because of them, that's why they are now want to withdraw the suit against Mr. Dele Farotimi. But my people, that is a good news anyway. But let me allow you guys so I can listen to hear what Secretary General of Afenifere said concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as well as other matter that is happening in Nigeria. Just take a listen.
Well, we're now being joined by Chief Olushola Ebishini, who is the Secretary General of Afenifere, to have a look at the state of the Nigerian nation, as well as the decisions taken at the meeting on Tuesday. It's great to have you in the studio with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So it seems many things came out of this meeting that happened, but let's take them one by one. First of all, the calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. What should we make of the timing of this calling, seeing as he's been in detention for quite a while and battling his legal troubles? What is it that right now, what happened? What transpired?
Well, like you said, we discussed quite a number of issues bordering on the state of the nation. And there is no doubt that issues of, security, national reconciliation, and all of that at this critical time is very important. And we see the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, the release of Nnamdi Kanu, as such that could bring about national reconciliation. We actually do not want it to be seen as a political issue. Any moment from now, maybe in the next 6 months or thereabouts, you will see politicians begin to discuss 2027 and thereabout. And so we feel that it is very important at this time, because there is no way you will discuss issue of security in this country, issue of national reconciliation, issue of southeast of Nigeria without the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. So we feel that, yes, there is no useful purpose for his detention. Detaining Nnamdi Kanu up till now will not serve Nigeria any useful purpose. By releasing him will go a long way, to calm down the free nerves in the country, and for us to have, in Nigeria, everybody at least will have a better sense of belonging. I find if just feel at this time that there is no need for federal government continuing to. In fact, I wouldn't know whether there was any need to have even detained him in the first place, particularly for this long.
But looking at the federal government's body language, and its, should I say, inaction regarding this matter, so far, because several groups have also called for his release. What makes you, or should I say, are you optimistic that the federal government will listen to this call from Afenifere?
Well, you see, Afenifere looks at things from the objective point of view at a particular time in the history of our nation. And we are not doing it for the first time. If you cast your mind back to sometimes around 1981, in faraway northeast Nigeria, and one sugar bar was deported, and the federal government suddenly called him a Cameroonian and deported him, is it a Cameroonian or a Chadian, and deported him from Nigeria. Afenifere then, still under the leadership of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, rose to the occasion. It is not a matter of whether we are optimistic or not. It is a question of, is it just, is it right? What we are asking, is it appropriate? And so it is for us to make our own demand, to advise government, and it is for government to take its own decision.
Fair enough. And we also know that during the meeting, the barrister Dele Farotimi was appointed the new National Organizing Secretary. This is in light, of course, of the back and forth that happened with Afe Babalola and the case against Dele Farotimi. Now it seems that he's been embraced with warm arms. Could you speak a little bit on the implications of such, and also the relationship with Mr. Farotimi?
Well, I was here sometimes during your morning show when I had the opportunity of visiting Dele Farotimi and Chief Afe Babalola in company with His Excellency Peter Obi to Ado Ekiti. The appointment yesterday has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the Chief Afe Babalola's issue, which, thank God, all is well now, that ends well. Dele Farotimi is a member of the Afenifere, as a matter of fact, of his national caucus. And what transpired yesterday was not an appointment, it was an approval of an appointment. The appointment had come before the national executive for quite a while, but the general meeting had not come up for the purpose of approving the appointment. So what happened yesterday, the appointment was not just done yesterday, it was the approval of the appointment that had been sent forth by the National Executive Committee of the party, of the organization.
Now, I'd like us to talk a bit about the state of the nation, which will, I'm sure, form the crux of what you discussed at your meeting. I'd just like you to tell us Afenifere's stance on the reforms that have been taken by President Bola Tinubu, like the removal of fuel subsidy, floating of the naira, and the manner in which these reforms have been implemented.
Yes, we have spoken a lot about it. Our first reaction was, yes, all the presidential candidates promised to remove subsidy. We felt that the manner it was announced on the day of inauguration actually created a lot of panic in the economy, and it's still there up till now. So it's not the remover, but the manner of its removal and the effects on the Nigerian people since then. And it was done almost simultaneously with floating of the naira. You and I are Nigerians, and we know the effect so far. Yes, the president took some other steps which Afenifere had reacted so. For instance, the issue of local government autonomy. Yes, the issue of local government autonomy, Afenifere felt, and we still believe, that local government is a matter for the subnationals. It's for the states, and it's not one that the federal government will be directly interested in. Because if you look at the equity of local government creation in Nigeria, you will marvel. So rather than talk just like autonomy, as if there is nothing wrong with the way the local governments itself have been allocated among the states, so much that it has become a means of getting money from the federation account. If you take some states, for instance, if you go to the south, if you go to the south, you pick Akwa Ibom, has 31 local governments. River State, in both population and size, is bigger than Akwa Ibom. It has 23. If you come to the southwest, Ondo State has 18. It's bigger in size and population than Osun. Osun has 30. If you pick Jigawa 27, you pick Kano 44, you pick Katsina 34, making 105, is more than the entirety of the local government in Southeast, which is just 95. So if this local government, you say Bayelsa is an oil-producing state. Bayelsa has 8 local governments. Whatever comes to Bayelsa from the derivation account, right, And if you juxtapose that with with a state that has about 30 local government, and you calculate maybe on the basis of 500 million naira per local government, whatever you think Bayelsa will have gotten or generated from the derivation from being an oil-producing state is rubbished by the number of local government that some other states have without making any contribution. So you need to really go into the equity of the. That is why we believe that it is not for the federal government to create local government. It is for the states to create local government. So our position is that the local government, for instance, as it is in the constitution today, should be delisted. Let the state create as many local government as it has the capacity to manage. But as it is now, for instance, look at what is happening with respect to VAT. Those who have advantage with respect to the number of local government they have, deriving revenue from the federation account, immediately now you say, okay, let VAT come by way of derivation. Then it was an issue. And that is why today you see the South now say, okay, the same formula you use for allocation of VAT, use it for oil and see where Nigeria stands. So there's a lot of inequities in the system. And this is what Afenifere discussed. And that is why Afenifere insists on true federalism as the means, the way by which the Nigerian state can be equitably, effectively, and fairly governed.
True federalism indeed.
True federalism, because that is what it is. You know, you're talking about the autonomy of the constituent states to manage their own affairs. And there is no part of Nigeria that is poor. In the First Republic, both from the east to the east, from the eastern state, the eastern region, to the western region, to the northern region, there was not one that lagged behind. It is only because, everybody is relying on oil now. And so everybody goes to Abuja every end of the month and got money. And that is why the states appear to be complacent on the issue of revenue generation. And as you can see, by the war, it was almost resorting to war on the issue of VAT. And you have some governors, making terrible comment, terrible statement, even on the president, and some of them calling for war on the issue of VAT. And the VAT is not commonly generated. It is according to, I don't want to go to some of
we only have so much time, but yes. We're also very curious on if any discussions were had concerning state police.
Oh yes.
And what those were.
Yes, of course it was in our release. You see, Nigeria is too vast in terms of size, in terms of population, and even as a federation, to have a single police command in Nigeria. And as it were, everybody's been talking of state police. And we know that, yes, the present president is a member of the Afenifere. And he believes, and I have no doubt in my mind, that he believes in, our philosophy for the governance of Nigeria. Now, just recently, about a week, about 3 days ago, the governor of Oyo State was lamenting to say, oh, his states have been infiltrated by bandits, and he will be calling on federal government to come to his assistance on such little issues. We had a situation sometimes ago, I think about last year, where a CSP had to stand up to Governor Sanwo-Olu. He stood up to Governor Sanwo-Olu. The governor was there and met him on issue that concerns land in Lagos State, which under the Land Use Act is absolutely within the powers of the state. And he told the governor, I do not take order from you. That can be a federation, for crying out loud. That can be a federation. So we should have a system where there is no government properly so-called that does not have the capacity to enforce its laws. What is the essence of the states making laws that you will require the federal police to enforce? And you say that security of life and property is the fundamental basis of the existence of the states, like Thomas Hobbes says, is the fundamental, as a matter of the social contract between the state and the citizens and the state. In fact, it is the reason for the existence of the state to start with. And so when you have the state and when you have government, and you call the governors, there's a term they use for them, chief security officers of their state, and they have no capacity to give any command. The commissioner of police in any state is not responsible. It's not answerable to the governors. So what we have today is a caricature, not even of federation, caricature of governance. You have states where they even practice the unitary system and have institutions like universities having their own police to enforce their own laws. But here in Nigeria, a governor has to wait. A governor has to wait for a government cannot even call the lowest ranking police officer in his state. You have to take order first from the commissioner of police, and if the commissioner of police is not well disposed, he will tell the governor, I'm still waiting for instruction from the AIG. Then from the AIG, I'm still waiting for DIG. From the DIG, we have to talk to the IG. Before you know it, criminals will have taken over the system. So that is the problem that we have.
And still on the issue of security,
yes.
There's calls in some quarters for Amotekun to be licensed, to carry lethal weapons.
Yeah.
Do you think Amotekun has the capacity to actually handle the security of the Southwest? And don't you think it will give room for manipulation from state governors as is being fed in some quarters?
Sometimes people insult state governors as if they are just some small boys who are not responsible. What do you mean by saying that state governors would manipulate state police?
Maybe to fight their political enemies. We've seen that happen in
other places. Is the federal government, don't you see elements in the federal government using the federal police to fight their enemies? It is, as a matter of fact, you will even need it for balance of forces. Yes, you will need it. You will get to a stage. That's it in a federation. If you go to the US, issues that concern the state, the federal police will stand aloof and allow the state police to handle the matter. Amotekun, enjoyed total support of the people of the Southwest. As at the time the governors of the Southwest took this decision, we were almost unable to live our lives. Our forests have been taken over. The Southwest then have virtually become ungovernable. And you do not elect a governor. You do not give them mandate to sit and allow their people to be wiped out of existence. So it was at that stage that Amotekun came up. And we feel that, yes, in terms of personnel, in terms of training, I'm from Ondo State, and I know that Amotekun in Ondo State is doing very, very well. But in terms of personnel, in terms of operational capacity they have, but in terms of firepower, they do not have. They do not have. You could not send Amotekun to go and be chasing people who are carrying AK-47. Why the best that an Amotekun has is a pump action. But Amotekun has the support of the people. And we feel, canvassing for state police, we feel that they should, if the federal government today, if the constitution of Nigeria today allows for state police, those of us in the Southwest, we will call for the upgrading of the Amotekun to become the state police or regional police in the Southwest. There's nothing wrong with it.
Fair enough, fair enough. And moving on to another pressing issue. This one is about the ruling party versus opposition. We know that Nigeria has been running somewhat of a one-party state in that the opposition parties are lagging behind, to put it in a very euphemistic way. What do you make of the ruling party of the day, the way it's handling itself, and the opposition parties and the way they are conducting themselves in general? You name names or not.
Well, I am a politician, but I'm here as Secretary General of Afenifere.
Right.
Yes, and so if I was to speak as a politician, It will be different from the way I will see the issue now as Secretary General of Afenifere. If you permit me,
yes.
The Yorubas will say, agbára òní ohun onílé wó, onílé ni òní gbà fún. Do you understand that?
We're asking Timmy to translate, please.
No. We have an elder in the house, so he's going to do the translation.
Agbára onílé wó, onílé ni òní gbà fún. It is given to the flawed. It is given to the flawed to want to bring down your house. It is you, the owner of the house, that will not allow it. Yes, it is the nature of people who are in power to want to monopolize power. And that is the nature of power. Once you get power, and that is why you have constitution bringing about checks and balances. Otherwise, the nature of power is for the man who wields power to want to do it absolutely. And that is why, you know, in our traditional system, they say an Oba is Kabiesi. You cannot ask him questions. Though in the Yoruba traditional system, you still have the Oyomesis and the chiefs that can call the Oba to order. But the nature of man is that when he has power, he wants to dominate his environment. He wants to dominate. So it is you who competes with him for power to stand your ground and say he will not have it. So if the opposition is sleeping, or if the opposition cannot get its acts right, if you go to PDP and today you see them fighting at BOT, you find one today take a decision, another one you have a deputy overruling, I mean his principal. You have all sorts of things, and you have like Labour Party surrendering itself to the powers that be. And the whole election, you see that this election is not well conducted. And it is opposition that will first hail the man who came in through an imperfect thing. So the party in power may decide to have it absolutely. But I think that a lot of movement going on in Nigeria now. I do not, let me say this categorically, I do not see any of the opposition parties today being able to single-handedly on its own wrestle power from the APC today. They will have to go. The APC did so in 2015 when they decided that the ACN cannot do it alone, CPC cannot do it alone. You know, they both came together. They took some 5 governors from the ruling PDP. And today you have an amalgam of people within the APC. I do not even believe that between now and 2027 too, that the APC too will be a single house as it is. Power contest has not started. But I just feel that the opposition, if they mean well, should come together. But then there's some people, I don't want to say more than that.
Well, based on the little that you have said, I'm very sure 2027 will be very interesting.
It's going to be tough, but there's a need to get our acts together, because I'm a politician.
Hopefully we will get our acts together. Yes. Secretary General of Afenifere, Chief Shola Ebisheni, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome to Chamber News TV.